Hey guys, I'm Nick Holbrook. This is growupdaddy. I hope you enjoy. I understand the importance when it comes to YouTube of being regular with your filming. However, this last week I have been ill. It is a little bit delayed, but I hope you enjoy this video. In order for the channel to grow, I really do need your support, guys. So please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now, take a moment now, press pause, like, share, and subscribe. So now, onto this week's video. So this week, I'm going to interview one of my best friends, master of ceremony at my wedding, new daddy to Percy Parkes, the absolute legend, and what some would say the greatest championship manager of all time, that's Rosario Parkes. Welcome to the channel, guys. Ross, Percy, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
Love the channel. It's an absolute privilege to be here. we're massive fans. Just can't get enough.
So for anyone watching, Ross is in one of my many WhatsApp groups and he's been the #1 fan. He's not given me any grief whatsoever. He's not taken screenshots, published them in the group, made...
I won't have a bad word said about this channel. The best thing on the internet, isn't it? Yeah, he agrees.
So Ross, we'll fire into a few questions to start then.
Far away.
So Ross, first of all, can you tell the viewers how you found out you got to be a dad?
I'm not. It's not my child. So we actually found out, we were on holiday. We'd gone for like a little week to France, staying in a friend's place. And Liv had bought, we'd had some pregnancy tests because we'd only just started trying first go. And it was like first day in France, and we were like, right, planning the shop, you know, and sort of trying to plan out the week and restaurants and things like that. And Liv was like, well, before I have something to drink, I'd probably better just make sure and just do a test.
Yeah.
And like next thing I know, she just appears, and she's just holding the little test stick thing, and she's like, you could just sit, like, she didn't really know what to say. I didn't know what to say. It was just it was quite surreal, because we'd obviously, it wasn't a surprise because we were, you know, just started planning, and sort of thinking, oh, well, let's just see what happens. We'll give it a go. And then, like, you know, pretty much sort of straight away, which was like incredibly lucky. But weirdly though, you don't straight away. I was like, let's have a drink. Let's crack open the bubbles and stuff. And then and it was only like, it's a split second. She went, oh no, I won't be able to drink this holiday.
Yeah.
So like, it's, you know, you have your holiday, you know, your idea of your holiday, you know, like south of France, you want to get in the lovely local rosé and sit, like, you know, go down to the beach or something, and sunsets and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, I drank for the two of us that week.
Good man. It still doesn't trigger straight away that actually now you got to have a baby.
I mean, he's 13 weeks now. It's only just hitting home now, so there's loads of time.
So in that case, that actually brings me to my next question, which is fast forward a year. How has the first 2 to 3 months of fatherhood been then? It's
an interesting one, really, because like we've obviously had a different circumstance with the coronavirus, and we've had, you know, lockdown here, have a little lockdown baby. I think, ignoring that for a sec, we've been very lucky. He's been healthy, not had any problems. He started getting into routines and things. But I think the hardest part of it, everybody always talks about the lack of sleep and the lack of, like, you know, that's it, your life's over, you can't do this. That for me was not the hardest part. The hardest part is that kind of, I don't know, right at the start, it's very surreal. It doesn't hit you. You know, there's all these expectations that, you know, people talk about, and it's obviously very personal, and everyone's different, and they react in totally different ways.
Yeah.
But you go through that, you know, the intensity of the labour and then the birth and stuff, and it's like this surreal, crazy, magical, happy, stressful, frustrating, all the emotions like this. You know, like we were in hospital for 3 days. Like it was 53 hours labour in the end, and he came out in 5 minutes.
Talk about that actually. So it's a 53-hour labour. So anyone who doesn't know Rossi's wife, Liv, she's probably the fittest mother that's ever been.
A week before she was giving birth, she was on the spin bike doing a spin class. So he's used to being there, jiggled about quite a bit on the
exactly.
bike.
Which is why he probably loves the baby Bjorn jumping up and down. Did you know, Ross, whether you were having a boy or a girl beforehand?
No, so we kept it as a surprise.
Yeah.
As much as Liv wanted to find out, even on one of the scans, she was like trying to like
ask
some clues and things, but she didn't want to know. She wanted to secretly find out. So, but no, we wanted to keep it a secret because, like, make it a surprise. Because you don't necessarily want to think, you know, it's our first child. We would be, the only thing we wanted was a healthy child, and like everything else is a bonus. And even like, I suppose if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I probably would have gone, I want a boy.
Yeah.
I think that's just like a lad's thing. You know, you say you want your little boy and things, but you know, I probably would have preferred a girl.
We're in the same position as you. Sophia would obviously like to find out, but I said on our first baby, I personally would like to keep it a surprise. Second baby, we can find out, no problem. So in that case, what point did you realise you were having a boy? Did you catch the baby?
Well, I've actually got it on film.
There we go. Let's add it to the Grow Up Daddy film.
So I didn't catch them because I was too busy filming. But so reason why I was filming, just for context, so it doesn't make me look like a terrible dad just stood in the corner filming, is Liv had really wanted to have a photographer during the labour to capture those moments. And you know, we'd seen a lot of you know, pictures of, you know, like professional photos of like during that birth and those first moments and things. And it's one of those things that kind of goes by in such a blur. You quite often forget a lot of the moments, whether they're, you know, sad, happy, whatever. So she wanted to like capture it. But obviously due to restrictions, we obviously couldn't have that, and we were very limited. You know, I was only just about allowed in.
Yeah, because at one stage you were very worried, weren't you, about actually being allowed into the theatre for the delivery? So
because of the timing, so he was born in May, and you know, obviously lockdown sort of came into force sort of throughout April and sort of still into May, and you know, all the various appointments leading up, you know, through April, I wasn't allowed there. I just had to drop Liv at the entrance of the doctor's or hospital thing, and then just drive around the block for 40 minutes. And even like going to the hospital first, when she was going into labour and things, she would have to go in first. They would kind of do like various checks and whatever, and then I would have to wait outside. It was probably about 45 minutes first time, because we sort of came back home a couple of times because it was such a long labour.
Yeah.
But so I had to kind of wait 45 minutes outside. Then I had to have a temperature check. Then they gave me a mask, and I wasn't allowed. You know, as soon as we got into the ward, we're in the midwife led unit. Yeah. Once I was in the room, that was kind of it. And you know, most things were closed, so I couldn't like nip out to the shop or like. So if I left, I wasn't allowed to leave the hospital. Once we were in, I wouldn't be able to leave. You know, so therefore, those pose their own challenges, but. We we couldn't have the photographer, and like at the time when he was just about to sort of pop out, I can't remember at what point, Liv had been speaking to the midwife about one of the Kardashians on one of those episodes giving birth, where like they caught their own baby.
I don't watch the Kardashians. Got to say,
that's a lie.
Obviously. But I did hear about
never seen it.
Never seen it all in my life. No, but I did hear about that one.
At the sort of moment, so like they asked her, like, do you want to, because these are these funny moments that the midwife said, do you want to feel your baby's head? And it was like, whilst he was still like
inside.
Like
inside.
And so she's, you know, she's not like sort of funny about that kind of thing. And she was sort of in the moment, and she said, yeah, so she could sort of feel. And then sort of 5 minutes later or so, as he was sort of moving through, the midwife joked, do you want to have your Kardashian moment?
Right.
Probably not expecting her to say yeah. And she was like, yeah, sure. So she reached down and like, it wasn't really the catch. It was more like she basically pulled him from her.
It's like the ball coming out of the scrum, yeah? Just waiting, and out we go.
Well, yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. I was like, in my head, I had like images of like alien movies and stuff like that. But, yeah. Ball from scrum's great. Still not amazing, but yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that as well, Ross. So obviously, Ross, you use your baby Bjorn. What do you use for your sling?
Well, we've got two.
Yeah.
We bought so we got one of those like soft like wraps, you know, like it's just basically just one bit of fabric, and it's like it's a Moby one or something. It's like made of like bamboo fibers or whatever. It's like you can start chatting. I might need his nappy change. But like when he was really like first few weeks, we didn't really get on with it just because they're so small. Yeah. And like you've got to do it really tight, and it almost feels too tight. But then they're almost too small for it. So Sling, he was almost too small for it. So like it just felt a bit too loose, and you always felt like you were like trying to like catch him or hold him. Yeah. So then Liv wasn't too keen, but I just went and bought it anyway. It's the Ergo Baby one, which was like a bit more solid. Yeah. Which you just kind of like strap. It's basically like a rucksack, which I suppose like for men, you probably feel like a bit more secure. And you have like your newborn insert, which is probably grown out of now, actually.
Like you said, I think the Ergo Baby is a bit more for me, maybe as
Liv hates it.
A bit more comfortable, and it's a bit more natural. So, what would you say has been the most challenging so far of fatherhood?
As I think I said before, like the expectation is that you're instantly overwhelmed and in love with this amazing little package and stuff, and I think there's kind of and I said everyone's different. But I think for me, what I found really difficult was having that connection. Yeah. The lack of sleep and the lack of everything else, and life and things is like fine. Like we were in a lockdown, so we weren't doing anything else, so it was brilliant. Lack of sleep. I'm not the best of sleepers anyway, so I'm used to being tired and hungover. But like, I think because when they're so small, and they're so dependent on mum. It's very difficult to build that bond and get that relationship straight away. Like you have all these like feelings of love and stuff, and you're like, you want to do everything for him and like make sure he's okay. But ultimately, there's only one thing he wants, and that's mum. To be fed by his mum, and Liv's breastfeeding, and so that was kind of really the main thing 9 times out of 10 that soothed him and calmed him down. So like in the sort of the gaps where I'm trying to give her a break, changing him or like watching him for a bit, to be honest, he's not that interested. I think it's only really the last couple of weeks he's started to get to like me.
So it's an interesting one that you mentioned there, because that's something that I put into one of my videos about, as a father, we can often feel overlooked. It's not about us. We know it's not about us. It's about the baby and it's about the mother. But it's like creating the bond, like you said, because at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, it is most likely that the baby wants the mother. A lot of the books and videos and everything that I've read mentions that and said it's not that you are trying to fight for attention or whatever, but it will be the mum that is required at the moment. But as you're experiencing now, is that after around 2 to 3 months, when the baby starts becoming a lot more aware and they're understanding that actually this idiot here, you're the father, and actually it can depend on you now for a lot more things as well. So that's when a lot of the information I've read, again, there's no right or wrong answers, which is what you've mentioned again, is that...
Because it's every situation is different. Everyone, you know, has their own feelings and whether they're, you know, some people do. Like I've spoken to people that, you know, have that instant, they feel it and that's it. But it's, like I say, it's very personal and very personal, should I say.
Yeah.
But it's also not, it's not wrong to feel that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only natural.
Now, something that I wanted to talk to you about, because I've experienced it as well. I've lost a parent. I lost my mum. I mean, that was 10 years ago, but it's still with me now, as you saw at my wedding day. So anyone who doesn't know, Ross was my master of ceremony on my wedding day, did a fantastic job. He saw me cry about 6-7 times because losing a parent, it's still not easy for me. Now, Ross, unfortunately, lost his father.
It was 4 months. My father passed away in January and he was born in May.
Right. A lot of research, again, that I've seen is that you can be dealing with the loss, and then at the time of the baby's arrival, probably because we have that feeling that we want to, I'd love to show my dad the baby. How's that been for you?
It's interesting. Like, I think, firstly, his middle name is named after my dad, so it was kind of a fitting, decided to sort of honour his memory in that way. But I suppose instantly it was a funny situation because during the end of his pregnancy, when my dad was ill and having to deal with that, and then afterwards, and then like emotionally having to switch from a loss to then being excited about a child, and then, you know, being, you know, in it, it's quite it's difficult to explain really, because it sort of has its moments and it comes and goes, and you sort of have moments where it's such a shame that he's not able to meet. They're not able to meet each other. But like I have found it difficult from time, but then other times it kind of, like, children give you a different perspective in life, and then you know about appreciating what you've got and appreciating life as opposed to maybe mourning so much. But you know, it is still early, and I think, you know, every little milestone that he does is like another kind of moment that is, you know, maybe that my dad's missed. But I try not to see it that way, because he wouldn't want that. And I'm sure somewhere he's keeping an eye.
Ross and I are massive football fans. Ross unfortunately supports the Arsenal, and I'm sure as a result, little Percy does as well now. I've seen him in his kits. So Arsenal won the FA Cup, and that was a moment, I think, that was a nice moment for you in your first year of being a father, that you could have that moment where you felt as though your dad was looking down and you were kind of watching the football together.
Yeah, it felt like one of those really silly things that that men ridiculously think about when they watch football, and like they suddenly get really emotional when, you know, you win things or you lose things in football, and probably more so any other time in life. And you do start, and that was another moment I thought about it, because we would normally celebrate together, because, you know, we always win the FA Cup. But I suppose it was quite nice to sort of, you know, for me to think, and as ridiculous it might sound, that somewhere my dad had a hand in it, and it was a fitting sort of end to a bit of a funny year.
So, Ross, Percy, thank you very much for your time. We've got one final question, and that would be, what would be the best advice to any dad about to embark on fatherhood, both pre and postpartum?
Pre, get yourself prepped and get engaged with like everything that's coming. Your partner is going to be going into overdrive, sort of right towards the end. It's going to be that nesting phase. Get reading up, because, you know, the amount of like books, you know, for any sort of mothers out there that, you know, probably agree, you know, read everything, look at everything, you know, ask all their friends what they should be reading, you know, and then it's like, have you read this? You're going to need to know. So that would be the bit of advice is just know, just start reading, understand. I mean, no amount of books can prepare you for it, but it can certainly help. Yeah. And then afterwards, I think it's just, as I said before, is, you know, prepare for it to be difficult in ways that you don't expect at first. They're not going to instantly come out and think that you're a legend. You have to build that up. Patience. If you're not a very patient person, you're going to need to learn pretty quickly. Learn to take those deep breaths and count to 10 in your head, and then go back to it. Yeah.
So, Ross, any other little bits of advice that you can give? Reach
out, talk. Don't be afraid to open up and ask for help where you need it. It's not all a bed of roses, and it's okay, to ask for help, whether it be family, friends that have got kids, or even just reaching out to your mates. Yeah. For a bit of silly fun that's not baby related. It's always helps to take your mind off things and sort of give you a bit of a reset if things have been a bit tough. So reach out, family and friends. It's great to have them around and to offer any bits of advice they can.
No, that's a good one, because again, I think that's something that I wanted to try and get across in my videos, that it's not easy. Not that I know yet, because I've not got a baby, but everything that I'm being told, it's not easy. But reach out to people. People are going through the same sort of things that you're going through at the moment. But if you can connect with even if it's one person to start talking about things, like you mentioned there before, Ross, even if it's to not talk about having a baby at all, just switching off, watching the football. It's all very important in the process for you as well.
And I think you'll find sometimes by reaching out, you'll be surprised that people that you might not expect to open up to you do, because it's suddenly okay if you've done it, or I'll do it. So just don't be afraid to speak up.
Great bit of advice, Ross. Thank you, Percy. Thank you for all your help today. You've been an absolute superstar. Yay!
Yay!
Percy, have you been watching Grow Up Daddy? Yeah, of course he has. #1 fan right there. Percy Parkes. How is it having such an annoying father? Any answers? Get off.
Yeah, get off me. Tell you what, he's got.
I don't need your help. I'm cool enough, Dad.
Can someone take their child back, please?
What an absolute legend Percy was, eh? And Ross, thank you very much for all your support and help. So guys, now it's over to you to do your thing. Please like, share and subscribe to this channel. If you've got any questions for Ross or myself, please drop them in the comments below. So guys, every Wednesday, I've got to commit to that time now. Every Wednesday it's got to be a new video from Grow Up Daddy. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like, share and subscribe. Over to you to do your thing.